important event to support epilepsy research and so much more.
Later this month, a walk for epilepsy will be held at Fenway Park. Joining us this morning is the president and CEO of the Epilepsy Foundation New England, Susan Linn. Susan, thanks so much for being here. First, tell us about the foundation and your mission.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. Epilepsy Foundation New England provides help and hope for people living with epilepsy in New England, including 50,000 people living in the greater Boston area. So 1 in 26 people develop epilepsy over the course of their lifetime, and we provide help writ large. So whether you've heard epilepsy for the first time today, or you've been living with it for 50 years, whether you need a shoulder to cry on, or you need a scholarship to go to college, or financial aid because you can't pay your rent due to a recent seizure, we're here to provide 1 minute of support or hours and hours of support over years, over a lifetime.
I love to hear that. You say you help people, and sometimes you don't know what that means, but you're telling us some of the things you do. What else is included in that help that you guys do for people and that's offered to people?
Oh, thanks so much for asking. So when you're newly diagnosed, you often have lots of questions, and it's hard to know where to turn. So we hope that for you and for your viewing audience that you never hear the word epilepsy. But when you do, you can imagine it's an overwhelming experience. So the first thing we do is ensure that when you hear that word, you have someone to call, and we can clarify questions. But as you go on your journey, you might feel like it's a lonely journey. Most people don't hear the word epilepsy over the course of their lifetime, and when they do, they might feel like they're the only one that's affected. So we offer programs like social programs, like summer camp for kids. We send over 300 kids to summer camp every year, so they meet other kids living with epilepsy, and they can see they can do all the things that other kids who don't have epilepsy can do.
That's so great, because it can be scary to send your kid off to camp if you're worried about something happening, but if they're with experts or with people, then maybe it's a little bit easier to do that.
Yeah, something else that's scary is it's actually growing amongst baby boomers. Can you talk about that and how it's affecting this generation?
Indeed. So older adults are the fastest growing population of people diagnosed with epilepsy. And as you can imagine, sometimes older adults are less willing to talk about epilepsy than younger generations might be. And so they might experience even a higher degree of social isolation. So you can imagine what it's like to be in your 70s and 80s and experience your first seizure and then not be able to talk about it. So for us, we have special support groups for people living with epilepsy who are in their 70s. We call that group our Silver Warriors. And they meet together usually on Sunday afternoons and just talk about their life experiences and their shared journey of what it's like to live in that age group. And we offer things like our adult retreat for people who are 50 and above living with epilepsy.
Oh.
They spend the weekend together, and they tell us afterward, no matter what activities we organize, their favorite part is just sitting together and talking to each other and making new friendships.
Love that.
Let's talk about the event, April 28th, the Walk for Epilepsy at Fenway. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh gosh, April 28th, the Boston Walk for Epilepsy, our annual event, is my favorite day of the year. It's like a family reunion every year. So whether I get to see my friend Jeff, who's walking in honor of his fiancée Tara, who lost her journey, lost her battle living with epilepsy, or my friend Mark, who's 12 years old and every day is struggling to live a better life living with epilepsy, I see our friends and family who are fighting every day to live well with epilepsy. About 1,500 people will come together at Fenway Park, and after we take a short walk, we get to sit together in the stands at Fenway, which is so exciting. It's our first year at Fenway. It's the Northeast's largest walk for epilepsy, and we hope people will come together and celebrate folks living with epilepsy's journey together.
I love it. Sometimes you think foundations are just about raising money and trying to get research, but this is about support and help. It's so great. Susan, thanks for coming in. Really appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having us.
All right, we'll be right back after this.